Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With the Major 4 qualifiers just a couple of days away, we are still waiting on plenty of rostermania confirmations. The Florida Mutineers especially is a rather interesting one because yes, we know their tendency towards assault rifle players, but Temp might have actually leaked the possibility of them trialing a roster a couple of days ago with what some might argue was 4 ARs on the team. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Let's just dive straight into things. Firstly, wanted to mention this. Fantasy is currently live over at the Breaking Point side. If you guys want to get involved for the Major 4 qualifiers, you've got $25 to pick 4 players. Cash prizes on offer, $50 for first place, all this type of good stuff. $7 for attach. Still, I think pretty good value for money. CleanX is $9 now. Accuracy, $8. This is the team I went for. I'm sure you guys can do a better job than this. I usually try and go for an optic player because I think they generally do rather well on these online qualifiers. But Dashi was $10 and $10 was a bit too much to justifying the budget, I thought, so I went for Shots instead at $9. Neptune for $4 I think is pretty good value for money. He's just stepping back in, of course. I feel like if he does pretty well, $4 is pretty good value for him. I could have gone for either Illy or Afro because Illy is also only $5, which is pretty good value I think for Illy. I went for Afro instead though because I still trust his online performances. And then attach for 7 is pretty good as well. I tried to think about the teams that have matchups against each other because I'm pretty sure Optic do play Minnesota, so they're going to take points away from each other in that sense, but still it should be okay I think. So anyway, that's the team I've gone for. I think it's alright, but I'm sure you guys can do a better job as well. Link down below, all that type of good stuff. Let's crack on with things next. As Call of Duty League say, the following bounties are back in business, baby. Would you believe it? We're doing another bounty week. Now, in fairness, this is kind of the time in the year where this actually makes a fair bit more sense. They did one, I think, was it the first week or whatever of Major 3. It was even back at Major 2. I think it was Major 3 qualifiers. The idea is that for one match per each team, there's $10,000 extra up for grabs for each particular match. I think their idea was that towards the end of last year, Stage 4, Stage 5, a lot of the kind of online qualifier matches, or like as they were at the time, effectively the same type of deal as they are today, didn't really mean all that much because back then it was kind of like a group situation they used to be, and a lot of the matches are pretty much irrelevant, especially towards the end of the year in terms of champs qualification, seeding, that type of stuff. This year, actually, I think these matches are a lot more important and interesting, even through Major 4, this is no Major 5 this year, but last year, a lot of those kind of end of year matches were very dull and irrelevant. I think their idea is to kind of spice them up a bit more, with these kind of bounty matches. It's kind of cool, but I do think that this $60,000 could, let's say, have gone to better use. But anyway, these are the bounty matches of interest this week. So we've got, we'll see. It's actually the Minnesota Rokkr that get the free $10,000 this time around. Pretty sure it was New York last time. And as Crone says, plus 3 viewers, right? I'm not really sure this does an incredible work in actually converting new viewers into actually watching. But here we go. We've got Florida versus New York. That's going to be one of the bounty matches. Boston versus LA. Thieves, FaZe versus Surge on July the 9th is actually rather spicy as well. Okay, so it's not just in 1 week here. Okay, we've got a couple in the first week, and then we've got 4, I guess, in the kind of the second week of matches or whatever it is, or last week of matches. However exactly it worked out. So it's not just a bounty week, it's now just bounty matches over all of these. So I guess they picked out some particularly interesting ones. Optic versus Ultra is always kind of a nice one as well, July the 10th. So yeah, there we go. Thought it was kind of nice again, but the question has been raised by the likes of Electrify Steel Gaming right here. Look, we've got a spare $60,000 to spend it on. Should we do more ads? Should we do bounty matches? Or how about we actually put that towards Challenger's prize for Challenger's World Championship or whatever? That's not going to happen, sunshine. So that's the thing. Doug Martin's been talking about it as well the last couple of days. He's apparently getting ready a YouTube video to put the COD League on blast. I'm sure they're not going to like that one too much. I might be sending a fine Doug's way because he is a CDL player, right? He's on the Boston Breach substitute bench, so therefore he probably has a contract in place where they can drop him a fine or whatever. We'll see how it goes. But Doug obviously doesn't care about that. He wants to get the word out there. The way they've done the Challengers Champs this year is just not the way to go. Wants to get it changed for sure. I think certainly understandably so, as he says. I still can't believe the league hasn't acknowledged the petition. So Doug actually put a petition out there, got 2,000 signatures from a lot of people in the community, but also Challengers player, analysts, coaches, all this type of stuff as well. Firstly off for the team, time to make a YouTube video, get ready at the COD League, right? And apparently Prezi from the ACCL talked to Doug about it and kind of proposed a new potential COD League Challengers format, and Doug apparently was a big fan of this and is going to actually propose this to the CDL, because I imagine the CDL is going to listen. Whether they're going to do anything about it is another question. I'm sure they're going to listen to what Doug has to say if he makes a video on it or watch the video, this type of stuff as well. Now, we'll see if people continue to vouch for this one, but as Doug says actually in reply to this one, right, I'm going to send this to the league, much needed adjustments, right, at MLG. So we'll see if anything happens as a result of this. I'm not particularly confident the CDL is going to change anything with regard to only 8 teams going to the Challengers World Championship, but yeah, Doug certainly wants to get it changed. If it doesn't change, Doug's not going to be there, right? And of course, we'd like to see that. Now let's talk rostermania. So the big question has been, okay, what's going on with the Mutineers right now? Because Vivid, of course, was on the Mutineers. They let him go. He's actually flown back, I'm pretty sure, to his home state, and now he's potentially joining the Boston Breach. That is, well, at least the current rumor. That is not yet 100% been confirmed. But therefore, after Asim was meant to join the team and Asim then turned down the opportunity, they were really struggling for an SMG player. Vikil apparently was reached out to by the Toronto Ultra Academy and was also being looked at, well, he's currently of the Toronto Ultra Academy, was reached out to by the Mutineers, couldn't join as we like to yesterday due to being on a student visa. 2Real is the player that's most recently trialled with the Mutineers, and that still is the going rumour right now. He does tweet this out yesterday, stuff just got interesting, so kind of confused at what's going on. Maybe they'll just confirm 2Real on the team, but I wonder if they have anything else on their mind, just because there was a screenshot that was leaked by Temp of the Paris Legion where he was scrimming a couple of days ago up against the new Florida Mutineers team that they're potentially trialling with in a search and destroy scrim, and they actually were bringing to the party, well, more ARs than people might necessarily expect. So Temp's been killing the content gamers of late, but on stream he leaks this one, right? There was a whole video behind this, but I'm using in the background, and this effectively is the money shot, right? So you got Temp over on the right hand side, and he's showing a clip from a search and destroy scrim where he had a nice couple of snipes in this search and destroy match. Now, yeah, this of course is what the teams do on occasion. They'll scrim each other, practice each other in search and destroy off stream, so they don't, like, of course, leak anything to the public. Now, of course, on the left hand side here, we've got the Paris team, Gravity, Temp, and Jimbo with Theory there. Rather interesting. Whether it's Johnny playing on Theory's account, I see rather unlikely, but of course, we know that John is gone, and potentially Johnny from Challenger's coming in, but maybe in this scrim they just played with Theory, either Johnny couldn't make it, or thought it was an interesting idea that maybe the coach Theory, former pro player, could step in and kind of be there to kind of actually talk to the players and kind of, well, work them through situations in a live setting. But this is from a couple of days ago now, so still maybe like Johnny just wasn't ready yet. But on the other side, this is of course while Florida Mutineers have been doing their trials, this is the roster that Florida had in this particular game. MajorManiak, Davpadie, Awakening, and Skies. So of course, MajorManiak already 5-0 right here, because of course he's rather good at search and destroy. But yeah, MajorManiak, we know he's coming in, we believe, from the Minnesota Rokkr. This of course would make a fair bit of sense. But they need, theoretically, an SMG on this team. Like, this current roster of 4 is minus Vivid, their only SMG player, effectively, you could argue. Awakening is technically an SMG, but he's definitely a much slower SMG, like, you know, more kill-heavy, slay-heavy SMG, but less impactful, one might well argue, less engagements SMG, most certainly, as a lot of them are in the game. And a lot of people have said more well-suited to an AR role, and now, I mean, yeah, you've got this guy, you've got Davpadie, the slowest AR in the league, you've got MajorManiak, the second slowest AR in the league, or whatever, and then I've got Skies, a very fast AR, but still an AR nonetheless. So this apparently is the team of 4 they were practicing with. Now, it must be said, this is only search and destroy. I do wonder if they've got a thought process here, because, like, apparently they were looking at Vikil, like, they wanted to get, maybe they want Vivid back, right, but Vivid, they probably let him go now, probably can't do that, because he might have already gone to Boston and got that stuff sorted out. We'll see how that goes, but, you know, of course, they were trying Asim, that didn't work out. They're going to try 2Real now as their potential other SMG, so they probably do still want an SMG, but with Davpadie on the bench, I do wonder if they think for search and destroy, as this was a search and destroy scrim, whether, like, this is an actual viable team of 4. Like, they might think in the respawns, okay, yeah, we probably need some aggression, bring in a 2Real or something and actually have an SMG on the team. Or, like, you know, what about in search and destroy, we sub out 2Real, bring Davpadie back from the bench, and then, of course, you know, play through with this team of 4, which is kind of crazy if they are at least considering this, because, I mean, look, I would highly doubt that, like, it's 2Real playing on Davpadie's accounts here, which maybe is plausible, but seems rather unlikely given this is an offline, you know, scrim, like search and destroy scrim that no one theoretically should be seeing, apart from Temp decided to leak it on stream. So definitely tweeting your thoughts on this one, right? Is it possible that Florida are actually considering this as the full roster for all the game modes? Because that would be remarkable. Like, I made a joke a couple of days ago, the fact that they were going to just try out, like, effectively these 3 players minus Awakening plus Clayster and have a 4AR team, but they're honestly not too far away, at least in this situation. Or maybe this is just their search and destroy team and they are considering having a search and destroy roster and a starting roster as well for respawns, right? We'll see how that one goes, but yeah, thought it was rather interesting regardless. But of course, like, Davpadie, like, at Capstone, like, they were playing the Challengers Cup just one day after that kind of clip was leaked. So maybe an indication that Davpadie is not in the starting roster, but at the same time still, if they want to bring it back and sub him in for search and destroy, it's something we've seen very rarely in COD history. We saw it, I believe, one time by the Seattle Surge at the start of, I think it was during the Modern Warfare season, when it was Enable on the team, and Enable was not known to be particularly good at search and destroy, so they subbed him out, or Joey Nubsy subbed him out for Panda for a map 2 of a series, but you know, because Panda did quite well in the game 2 and Enable didn't do particularly well in the game 1 hardpoint, they then didn't even sub Enable back in for the rest of the series, and that was effectively his last contribution ever to, well, to competitive Call of Duty. It was kind of tragic in a way. He played map 1 of a series, got subbed out for the Search, didn't get brought back in for the Control, and then got benched for the team right after that. So that's something that can happen. It is theoretically possible. The teams can sub out mid-map, and just no one's done it so far. Maybe Florida are considering that as a possibility. Now, speaking of course of Capstone, who just won the Challengers Cup, we looked at yesterday, like, as the flank say, like, was benching Capstone the right move for Boston? I voted yes here just because I'm not sure it was necessarily the right move, but like in terms of realistically possible moves, if they couldn't get Temp off Paris and maybe like move TJ to a sub, which is kind of what I'd like to have seen. I feel like Capsule was the right player to bench in the team if you're bringing in Vivid, at least for the short term. We'll see if that actually works out though. So yeah, definitely some mixed opinions on this one, I thought. Now, well, just to mention this as well, because Crone just gives a brief update on that situation with the Vivid sides, saying that it probably is going to be Vivid unless scrims don't go well. So that's the thing, right? Like, we've seen, of course, like the Los Angeles Guerrillas already confirmed quite quickly after kind of trialing Neptune and potentially the changes they wanted to make Spart back in the team. They pretty much announced it immediately. That's what their squad is going to be. Whereas these other teams, the likes of Boston, for example, haven't actually announced anything at all. Like, yeah, probably Vivid is coming in, but it's not yet guaranteed. So we'll see probably some announcements later today, tomorrow, whatever. Or they might just leave it as last minute as they possibly can to confirm all this type of stuff. But yeah, Florida, Boston Breach still a bit up in the air right now. And of course, also the optics side, I suppose, as well. We haven't had the official confirmation that Illy's coming back in. We know that he is practicing with the team, and Predator, we believe, is not going to be there anymore. But still, like, they haven't said officially Illy's coming back in for our matches and this type of stuff yet. So we'll see if it happens. Of course, we've got a few days for them to kind of figure this stuff out. Of course, I just wanted to mention this as well, because yesterday it was Clay and Doug that were frying on the stream side. Danbro really out there pushing 30, pulling these numbers, and even Clay was having a few words to say for the Paris Legion. He said something on stream like, wow, there's 4,000 people in there. That's more than a Paris Legion League match, which I thought was, like, you know, right out of the TacticalRab playbook. So shout out to Clayster for that one. We might up saving Coddy says right here. And just this also, right, kind of on the whole center topic we discussed earlier, as Grant as well, the evolution of the trash icon, challenger support from Activision 2022. It's kind of crazy how, like, I don't know, I always think about it when they first launched the league, they had this really nice, like, 3 pillars idea. Have you got, okay, they've got the pro side is one of the pillars of the logo, the fans is the other one, then the challenger scene, like the tier 2 division, that's where you're going to make your name. And I like, there's so many, like, challenger players super frustrated right here, and it might even just quit the challenger scene entirely if it doesn't get much better, right? And you've also got to think about the fact that the likes of Optic, like, they, of course, Pro Loot right now as their substitute, and General is kind of there or thereabouts as well. We'll talk about him later today, though. Like, the Pro Loot team, for example, with Clayster and co, like, in theory, that could be a good Optic Academy squad. It'd be a great practice for of course, the top team. Like, there was the Texas Nation squad earlier on this year that Optic had, but it wasn't like an official Academy team. It was just kind of cool Texas Nation because General was on there and he's the sub for Optic. But, like, it wasn't an official Academy roster. Now, some organizations have done this, right? Boston now have the Boston Academy. We've seen the New York Academy last season. A couple of other teams have tried it. London, Los Angeles Guerrillas, I think, as well. But often these academies come and go. And, like, the fact that a big organization like Optic is, well, effectively Hex has said he's not going to actually invest in the academy unless it actually seems worthwhile, unless the challenger scene actually has more support. So he's effectively putting a challenge out there to Activision, being like, look, improve your challenger sports, and I'll come in and actually do an academy roster and make it pop, because, I mean, that could certainly work and will help the challenger scene an awful lot, I think, if Optic get an official academy team, but they're not going to do that until the challenger support is there, right? So that's kind of the thing that effectively the challenger's been laid down to the league, like, okay, actually support this, or you're not going to get the return on investment from the teams itself. So we'll see what they decide to do next year, but yeah, certainly I think Center, hopefully his words or whatever video he does might well have some impact here. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tells you YouTube gods, this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well, and hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take over yourselves, and we'll see you next time.
Nice. Cold is still third P2.
He's top left warehouse. Top left warehouse. He's up. Nice!
One more. P2. I put
He was close. He was close. Playing Colt. Come on, man! Come on, man!